So, as many of you may be surprised to know, I work with demons. That's not the surprising part, though. Not only have I worked with demons before, even though I'm currently a Christian esotericist, the fact that I have worked with them before, and the fact that I have been rather commanding towards some of them, I should say being a little rough with some of them, shows that I kind of need to keep up on that. For if I don't, then things can go awry. Now, with that being said, some demons are pretty nice to work with. And when I say nice to work with, as in they are pretty cordial. And some even actually quite nice to you. Usually it's more of a matter of alignment of interests. If your interests align with one another, then it usually works out pretty well. And that's typically why the left-hand path people, I should say, those on the left-hand path, tend to do better with demons than those on the right-hand path, simply because there's more of an alignment of interests and goals, that sort of thing. That does not, however, change that some demons quite literally need to be handled a little more roughly because of said alignments or lack thereof. So, some of the ones that I personally have had to be rough with, I'm not going to give their names, but some of them tend to act like, I should say, bitches, for lack of a better term. They tend to be very indignant and sometimes have a likeness for being mean-spirited to those that seek freedom and self-empowerment, particularly towards men that seek freedom and self-empowerment. Although there are some that can be quite as mean to women, but since I'm a man and not a woman, therefore the ones that I've personally had some problems with, and I should not say problems, that I've had to be a little rough with, tend to be more feminine demons. Now, to say that they are females, I don't want to be too obvious and give it away. To say that they are male demons, I also don't want to be too obvious and give it away. I'd rather not name them. With that being said, once you enter into these packs, you have better do some pretty good job on your upkeep. And that includes protection. That includes doing regular banishings and invocations, whether that be the invocation of angels or the invocation of spirits that tend to be, nicer to you. Now, when it comes to the invocation of spirits or, really working with anything, any kind of spirit or celestial being, even some of them tend to be on the lower terrestrial level and can appear in certain forms and tend to be better for bringing about manifestations, even though I wouldn't really invoke them per se for any kind of defensive or protective works. With that being said, you got to keep up on that. Now, if certain ones take offerings, then you better keep up on the offerings. If certain ones need certain things from you, then you better keep up on that. And especially if certain spirits you tend to be a little rough with, and you could say that, you usually have a little bit of help from some other spirits that help you be rough with said demons that need to be treated a bit roughly. That being said, so now you got double the work to do. Is it worth it? That's for you to answer, not me. Now, I personally think it's worth it, even though there have been a few times where I have not kept up on things and I have suffered dearly. And mind you, these spirits can kind of get into your mind sometimes and just kind of convince you, maybe you should neglect your practices. Maybe you shouldn't be so rough on me. So on and so forth. And I'm not rough on them because they're inherently evil or whatever. It's more of just a lack of alignment of interests. Some just tend to be more aligned with me and what I desire and what my interests are. So I have an easier time working with them. And when I say easier time, I mean as in I can be nicer to them and more cordial with them. And some of the other ones that there may be a lack of alignment or just outright opposition to me and what I do, I'm going to have to be a little bit rougher. And if you're going to, come after someone like that, you best be prepared. Because just because you're done with the thug life does not mean the thug life is done with you. If you're going to come after somebody, if you're going to steal or threaten or kill, you better be prepared for the repercussions. And you better be prepared to know that certain people are going to seek vengeance. It's not enough to compensate somebody. There are those that just want vengeance and what they believe to be justice. At that point, that's where I turn to the old Bible, some other Christian religious books. Because Christ is all about forgiveness, and that includes forgiving those that you think have done you wrong or that you think are quote-unquote evil and deserve punishment. Christ said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Didn't in Scripture, it just says them. That includes everyone. Because you got to realize the Bible is an allegory. It doesn't matter whether it was based on reality or not. It doesn't matter for the historical context. You got to read it from your heart. Tiferet, the heart center. It's what it's all about, people. Well, there's my little rant on for today about why I tend to be a little rough with the demons and nicer to some of them. Now, with certain demons, if I want to be particularly rough with them, or if I feel the need to be particularly rough and tough with them, there's two angels that I like to call upon. Those angels being Raziel and Azrael. Albeit I don't have too much experience with Raziel. In that case, sometimes I just call up Uriel or Haniel, or just good old Raphael, because Raphael heals, and Raphael is related with Scorpio, and by extension, healing health, the mind, healing the body, figuring out the illnesses and the ailments. And that's still not a substitute for medicine. Please do not take it that way. Yes, don't neglect medical care if you need it. Like, just use some common sense, people. And because, the magic aligns with reality and the reality aligns with magic. Mind over matter, and matter aligns with the mind. There you have it. Take care.